Hello? Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Okay, nice to hear you. So it's time to start our training. Very glad to hold this online training for you guys. This is new from Great Training Department. Okay. Let's start our subject. So for today's topic is VERSATI 3. DC inverter multifunctional water heater. Is a new generation VERSATI. However, before we start VERSATI 3, I would like to spend a few minutes to review the VERSATI 2 for North America. Okay, this page shows the VERSATI 2 for North America. As you can see here, this is second generation VERSATI. Yeah, currently for most of the markets it's already phased out, but for North America we still sell this VERSATI 2 in this region. And you can see for North America there is only one model, 16 kilowatt for North America VERSATI 2. And here for this unit is still R410A refrigerant type, and this is a special power supply for North America, 208 to 230 volts, 60 Hertz. However, for this VERSATI 2, the heat pump heating temperature, the maximum is still 55 degrees Celsius. Yeah. And this is the standard controller for VERSATI 2. Here is the model name. However, for VERSATI 3, we upgrade the controller. Is more beautiful and more convenient for the customer operation. Later I will introduce more information about this part. And here is the controller. You can see there are some indicators for the running, power and error indicating, and here is the menu button. You can press to select the menu. And here is on off button, cancel, return, and confirm. Here is a function button. So actually for this VERSATI 2 controller is more traditional. Yeah. And also the display is the regular LCD. Yeah. And for this controller there is no Wi-Fi function, so it's a very traditional controller. Okay. And another part for the VERSATI 2 for North America. So first we have a look about the regular VERSATI 2 for the European market, for the other markets. So you can see if you open the panel of the hydro box, then you can see the inner structure of the VERSATI 2. So here is the flow switch. Sorry, we start from right. Here is the water pressure gauge. You can see this one to detect the water pressure inside. Here is the control panel built in. And here is the control box for the wiring connection. Here is the plate heat exchanger to get the hot water. And this is the e-heater. In case of some situation, you need the e-heater to heat the water, increase the temperature. This one is the air vent for discharging the air inside. Here is a safety valve. If the pressure is over high, this valve will open to release the pressure. And this one is the expansion tank to balance the pressure and store the expansion water. This one is the water pump for circulating the water inside, and this is flow switch to detect the water flow. So this one you can see in this slide is the regular VERSATI 2. Yeah, that's the regular VERSATI 2 for such the European market. However, for the North America, you can see the comparison is very apparent, right? Most of the components, they are the same, such as pressure gauge, PHE, heater, air discharge, safety valve, okay, and this one, all of them, they are the same. However, you can see for this part, there is no water pump. Yeah, for North America VERSATI 2, there is no water pump, which means you have to install in the field, prepared by your customer. Okay, so actually this is the only difference for North America VERSATI 2 and the regular VERSATI 2. Okay, that's the VERSATI 2 inner structure difference. Next one is the working principle for the VERSATI 2. So actually, from the North America VERSATI 2 is a split type. So in the package, there is one auto unit and one indoor unit, and some parts you need to prepare in the field, such as the water pipe and the other radiator FCU for heating. Okay, so for example, we take the heating as an example. For example, here is the compressor. In heating mode, here we'll discharge the hot gas. This is the temperature sensor to detect the value, and high pressure sensor, high pressure switch to the volume valve, then flow to here, filter, and this is the cutoff valve. This is sensor to detect the temperature, and then the hot gas became the liquid and flow to the expansion valve, and then flow to the auto unit for evaporation, and then flow back to the liquid gas separator, then flow back to the suction side. So that's the refrigerant circulation in the auto unit. So at the same time, for the water side, there is a lot of circulation. You can see this is the cold water in flow to the heat exchanger, and then the water will get the heat from the refrigerant, then flow to the water out pipe and flow to here is e-heater. You can see this is e-heater, expansion water tank and flow switch, and then flow to the water pump, and then circulate to the 3-way valve. And for this 3-way valve, you can see it connects with the water tank to supply the hot water to the tank and back, and the other way is circulating to the indoor side, such as the floor heating FCU, and then flow back to the water return. Okay, that's the water circulation in the water pipe. And here is a solar panel. You know, for the VERSATI water tank, if you want to install solar energy, there is two connection for the solar energy water system. However, for this part, you have to design and install by the customer, and also this is the optional water pump installed also by the customer. So this is the VERSATI 2 working principle. Okay. However, you can say for this one there is only one expansion valve in the system. which means no economizer, no vapor injection for the compressor, right? So this is the major difference between VERSATI 2 and VERSATI 3. Later I will introduce more difference to you. Okay, that's the first part about the VERSATI 2 review for North America. Here is the components code you can get in the service menu. So now we start our major subject, VERSATI 3, DC inverter, multifunctional hot water heater. First part is about the product evolution. So you can see in this slide, we developed 3 generation VERSATI recent years, since the first one, second, and third. For the previous 2, the refrigerant type is R14A, and also compare with the latest one, the previous 2 that's not perfect. However, for the VERSATI 3, we upgrade the design, such as appearance, the compressor, refrigerant, also the controller. All of them, they are upgraded. So actually for this VERSATI 3, the performance and the experience for the customer is actually better than the previous 2. So what is VERSATI? Actually, it's a kind of multifunctional L2 water heat pump, which means you can get the cooling, heating, hot water by just one unit. And for the latest VERSATI 3, it adopts the R32, an eco-friendly refrigerant, and that's qualified for the European market. And for the North America and Latin America, I think in the future we can get more certificates and satisfy your market policy and the requirement. So for the VERSATI 3, there are 3 types. The first one is a split. Auto unit, hydro box, and water tank, they are separated. And you can see here is the nomenclature. If there is H, that means the split type for the VERSATI 3. Another one is the all-in-one, also auto units. However, the hydro box and the water tank, they are integrated. They are together, just one casing. And you can see in the nomenclature, here is the G stands for all-in-one. G stands for all-in-one. That's the difference with the regular split. Another type is the molar block. The nomenclature letter is G here. Design sequence code, G stands for molar block. So actually, we have 3 types VERSATI 3 for a different choice, and you can promote to your customer for the various preference. So first, let's have a look about the nomenclature. Here, GRS means gray water heater. C means circulating. This is the heat pump, and this is the capacity, 16 kilowatts. PD means DC inverter, and this is the refrigerant type R32 NH, and this is design sequence. And here is the power supply. Currently for the VERSATI 3, this is the 2 options power supply. However, for the North America, the power supply is different. So in future, we can get the corresponding model for the North American market, and you can still use this one in your market. So for the split VERSATI 3 single phase, the capacity range from 4 kilowatts, the minimum 4, 6, 8, 10, and the maximum can be 16 kilowatts. And they share the same hydro box. Okay. This is a single phase, and another one, split type 3 phase. The basic capacity is from 8 kilowatts to 16 kilowatts. However, the hydro box still the same here. And the power supply is 400 volts. For the all-in-one single phase, the capacity is also from 4 kilowatts to 16 kilowatts here. And for the hydro box and the water tank, they are the same. They share the same model. And for the 3 phase all-in-one VERSATI 3, the minimum is from 8 kilowatts, maximum to 16 kilowatts. Also share the same indoor unit. Okay. For the monoblock units, it's different. You can see in this picture the outdoor unit dimension is bigger because we integrated almost the hydro box into the outdoor unit. So you can see the size is wider. All of the hydronic parts are located within the monoblock unit. And for the nomenclature, there is a little bit different. Gray, water heater, circulating heat pump, 12 kilowatts. This inverter, R32 refrigerant. G stands for monoblock design sequence number. Monoblock. Here is the power supply. Okay. And for the single phase, power supply unit minimum is 4 kilowatts to 16 kilowatts. Okay. However, for the 3 phase monoblock VERSATI 3, the minimum is 10 kilowatts. Maximum is also 16 kilowatts. Okay. So actually, for the monoblock, the minimum 3 phase units the capacity is bigger than the split one and all-in-one type. And here is the water tank for optional, and this picture is only for reference. Maybe in different country, the size and the design maybe a little bit different. And you can see there are many connections for the water pipe. And for this tank, there is double coil. These two for the solar energy. These two for the heat pump, water circulating, and this for drainage. And here is the cold water in and hot water out, and these two for the temperature sensor. And for this water tank, there is a disinfection function. So for long times running, the units will heat the water to 70 degrees Celsius to kill the bacteria, keep it clean. And currently, the water tank type is enamel water tank. Capacity is 300 liters. And this is the optional one. Maybe you can get the other type in the market. It is also possible. Okay, that's the first part about the capacity range. Second part, I will share some information about key components. So the first one is a split type outdoor unit. So you can see when you open the panel of outdoor units, you can see there are many components inside, such as compressor, okay, fan motor, and this one is the liquid gas separator. And then on the right side there are plate heat exchanger, expansion valve 2, expansion valve 1. Okay, for these two expansion valves, their function are different. This is for the major refrigerant pipe throttling. This is for the economizer. And here is the control box. Okay, you can see some indicator and wiring terminal for valve. And at the bottom of chassis there is a e-heater. Okay, so actually for the VERSATI 3 is the two-stage compression, which means the operation range is wider. Even in a very cold winter, the unit can still run very well. For the hydro box, the indoor units, and here you can see the inner structure. Control panel is built in, and the water pump. This is the inverter water pump, expansion tank, control box. Okay, plate heat exchanger. Here, this one, and this is the air discharge for the air release, and this is the heater. Water pressure gauge, safety valve, three-way valve, flow switch here. So actually you can see for the split VERSATI 3, the three-way valve is built in. So for the project, no need to install the other three-way valve. So there is a built-in so you can save some installation cost. Next one is the all-in-one unit. The outside is the same as the split, but for the indoor unit, the hydro box is integrated with the water tank. They are in the same casing. So here is control panel, PHE, flow switch, water pump, e-heater, this one, air discharge, expansion tank, three-way valve here, safety valve, control box, water pressure gauge, and water tank. Okay, so you can see there is also a three-way valve built in. However, for the refrigerant pipe, you just connect here to the other unit and the water pipe to the floor heating coil or FCU or radiator from here. Yeah. And for the water tank and the hydro box, they are already collected. Yeah. Next one is the VERSATI 3 motor block type. So you can see the structure of our unit is a little bit different. Here is the compressor and economizer here. PHE for hot water, safety valve, flow switch, water pump, and this is expansion vessel. For the monoblock type, the expansion vessel is different with the split and all-in-one. It looks like a cylinder, like a tank, and this is control box and DC one. And for the wired controller is external, not built in, so you need to prepare a cable connects with the PCB of our units, so the customer they can operate on the controller. Next one is the water tank in NA&LA water tank. This is the circulating water in and out. This coil for the solar energy. Yeah, this is circulating for solar panel, and this circulating for the heat pump from our unit. And this drainage for if maintenance or troubleshooting, you can release the water out from here. And this is cold water in from the city water, and then the hot water out for shower. And there are two sensors for the temperature detection. This one is the standard for the water tank pressure detection. For a certificate, currently we already get the Eurovent key mark CE certificate. So actually VERSATI 3 currently is qualified for European market, and the other such as Asia, Africa, European Latin America, maybe, I'm not sure. Later, and for the North American market, I think we need more certificates. So currently, VERSATI 3 is not ready for North America. So for the compressor, VERSATI 3 used the two-stage compressor. Two-stage with the EVI function. So actually you can see here, even the ambient, the evaporating temperature is very cold. In a very cold ambient, for ordinary discharge temperature is very high. However, if there is a EVI technology, it can reduce the discharge temperature to keep the unit run very well in a very cold ambient. And also for the VERSATI 3 is double stage throttling. Yeah, so actually in cooling mode, the equalizer can improve the cooling capacity. You can get additional capacity improvement. So in general, by this compressor, first you can get a very wide operation range. The second benefit is the cooling capacity is improved. Yeah. For the fan motor is the DC brushless motor. So for this motor, you know that the efficiency is high comparing with the ordinary AC motor. Also, the running noise is lower. Yeah. Next one is the heat exchanger. For auto units, we take some anti-corrosive treatment, such as the painting. We use the golden painting for the protection, and also the fin. You know, for the normal flat fin, the heat exchanger efficiency may be not very high. However, the VERSATI 3 use this one, the louver fin with blood coated. So you can see there are some slits. Yeah, also with the coating. This fin, the heat exchange efficiency is higher. For the copper pipe, it's the female threaded pipe, also better for the heat exchange. So in general, the heat exchanger, we take the anti-corrosive treatment and also the fin and copper tube to make sure the heat exchange can be improved. For the plate heat exchanger, in the VERSATI 3 there are two PHE. The first one is the economizer, is a small size PHE. Another one is the major heat exchanger for hot water here. So actually, for this economizer, the heat exchange is between the refrigerant and the refrigerant. However, in this PHE, the heat exchange is between refrigerant and hot water. And also, you know, for this one, there's anti-corrosive material. Yeah, and also PHE, the efficiency is very high, and also the size is small, so that we can integrate PHE into the other units. And next one, flow switch. 3-way valve to control the flow direction to water tank and flow heating and FCU. Flow switch to detect the water flow to make sure there is sufficient water inside and prevent some freezing. Safety valve, in case of over high pressure inside, it will release the pressure. This is for the air discharge. And for the pump is inverter, water pump, and the expansion vessel. You know, for the VERSATI 3 there are two different types. The first one is for a split type, and all-in-one type is a flat, rectangular flat. And for the monoblock type, the expansion vessel is cylinder. just because the space of our units, we have to change the size and the shape. And for the controller, the VERSATI 3 use 4.3 inch colored LCD. It's touch screen, and 13 languages you can choose in this controller. So for most of the country and the regions, it's available for their choosing. So this is the home page of the controller. Here is the on-off button to open or turn off the unit. And here's the date and Wi-Fi icon. Here is the time. And this is commissioning function. For after the project is finished, you can use this to do some commissioning. Here is the view for the status checking. Here is the running parameter for the VERSATI 3. Here is the function setting, and here's the homepage icon. Here is the running mode, and here is the language choice. Currently 13, including English, Espanol, and Turkish, Italian. 13 languages is qualified. The next one is the Wi-Fi function. For the VERSATI 3 controller, there is a Wi-Fi module built in. So if the customer want to use the smartphone to control the unit, they can do the configuration between the controller and the smartphone. Then you can operate and set and change the setting on your smartphone. All of the commands and the data will transmit between the Wi-Fi signal or the internet signal. Here is the application Gray Plus. And Gray Plus, you can connect with many different air conditioner to the Gray Plus, such as the RAC, VIF, UMATch, dehumidifier, purifier, even VERSATI. All of them, they can connect with the Gray Plus. So it's very intelligent for the customer control. However, if some OEM customer they want to use this application, this one, either PE Smart, that's for the OEM customer, you can download the application from this QR code. Okay. So that's the second part, the components of the VERSATI 3 introduction. So the next part is the function and features of the VERSATI 3. For the VERSATI 3, the operation range and water temperature range is very wide. So for heating mode and cooling mode, here is the ambient range from -20 for heating, -25 to 35 degrees Celsius. For cooling is -15 to 48 degrees Celsius. You can see it's very wide. For most of the countries, is okay. And for the cooling water, from 7 to 25 degrees Celsius. For the heating water, 20 to 60 degrees Celsius. And for the hot water, and the operation range is -25 to 45 degrees Celsius. For the domestic hot water, 40 to 80 degrees Celsius. However, the hot water you can get from heat pump, the maximum is 55 degrees Celsius, so which means from the 55 to 80. This range is achieved by the e-heater. Yeah, it's achieved by e-heater. Okay. For the other functions, such as timing, for the VERSATI 3, there are many timing settings, such as the quiet timing. For example, the daytime, the cooling node or heating node is high, and also the running noise can be a little bit higher, right? During the light, because of the nodes reduced. So in this case, the running noise you can lower down about 10 decibel. This is the quiet timing, and another timing is the temperature setting timing, temperature set point. The daytime you can set no temperature around 7 degrees Celsius. However, during night, due to the cooling nodes reduce, so you can set a relatively high temperature, such as 10 degrees Celsius. So it can save the energy power consumption, however still keep the output of a unit is still good. Next one is the other thermal source. Other units and water tank and the water pipe, that's the heat pump and water circulation. However, if the customer they need a boiler as a backup, they can connect with the water pipe and use a cable, connect with the PCB of units, then they can be controlled together. If the other units in a very cold ambient, if the heat pump capacity is not enough, the units can start the boiler as a backup to supplement the heat to the system and keep the capacity. Next one is the solar power for the water heating. As I said, for the water tank there is a circulating coil for the solar energy, so you can connect with the water system. And the water tank from Korea is double coiled. One coil for the solar energy, one coil for the heat pump. For the water tank, because of the water quality and the running time, maybe some bacteria or some dirty inside. So actually the unit can use the disinfection to heat the water around 70 degrees Celsius to kill the bacteria inside, to keep the water clean and healthy. Next one is the environment dependent mode. You can see in this slide, for the common mode, the living water temperature or the room temperature is constant. No matter which time it is in the day, the output is constant. So that's not good for the energy saving. However, if you set the environment dependent mode during the daytime or nighttime, because of the ambient change, the water temperature will also change. In the daytime and nighttime, it can adjust the water temperature to satisfy the demand of customer, also to reduce the power consumption. It can automatically calculate the cooling or heating demand according to the outside ambient and balance the energy saving and comfort. Here is the setting page of in the controller. So here is the upper limit ambient, lower limit ambient, and this is the upper limit for water, lower limit for water temperature. So for example, if the ambient in this range change in this range, also the water temperature will change with this line. However, if the ambient is lower than this value, such as very cold, so in this case the water temperature will be high to satisfy the customer. However, if the ambient is very high, right, such as in this range, higher than this certain value, okay, then the water temperature will be in this value, so that the units can automatically adjust the water temperature according to the ambient temperature change, so that the power consumption will be reduced. Next one is the out mode, such as the customer, they go out for holiday and the room without anybody inside. So if you set the out mode, the unit will start automatically to keep the room temperature around 10 degrees Celsius to avoid freezing. Yeah. Next one is the current limit. Because of the country regulation and policy, maybe the government, they are not allowed too high current for the grid. So for the VERSATI 3, there is a function for the power limit. This is the default one, 16 ampere. However, you can change to between 0 to 50 ampere. Yeah, you can set by yourself. And if the running current is too high, exceeds the limit, the units will stop. So that's no worry about the current over high. And this is the commissioning function for the floor heating coil. You know, for the floor heating project, if the floor is heated up to a very high temperature in a very short time because of the expansion, the thermal expansion and the contraction, the floor may be deformed or damaged because of very sharp temperature change and some crack or deformation caused by the temperature change. So for the project's commissioning, we set floor heating coil and floor coil commissioning function. You can set different segments, okay, many segments, and for each segment, how long time for this temperature, next segment for another temperature setting, next one another temperature, and this is the time period, and also for each segment, this is temperature difference. Yeah, this one, temperature difference also can be set. So at the beginning, the heating capacity, the heating temperature is just very low, and gradually increase to another stage and next stage and next stage, and then cool down gradually, so that the floor can be accustomed to the temperature change by the floor heating. Okay, and you can set the water temperature, initial target water temperature, time period, and the temperature differential for each stage, and running time. Yeah, running time for each period. So actually, this commissioning function is very useful for the floor heating project. And another commissioning is for the water system. So the customer, they can set this function to exhaust the air inside. And in this case, the water pump will start also the 3-way valve, 2-way valve, and the other valves. All of them, they will start to circulating the water inside and release the release the air inside, to make sure there is no air in the water system, and the running pressure is it will be stable. Emergency function. In case of auto units malfunction, maybe you need to repair, and then you can set the emergency running. And in this case, the unit will use the e-heater in the hydro box and the e-heater in the water tank as a backup for heating, so that the whole system can still run, and then you can get some emergency troubleshooting time to repair the auto unit. Freezing protection. For the VERSATI 3, the hydro box is very easy to be frozen in the cooling mode and in winter. So in the hydro box, the copper pipe, we put 3 temperature sensors on the copper pipe to detect the temperature value. And if each point the temperature is lower than 3 degrees Celsius, and then the water pump will start to circulate the water. And if any point the temperature is lower than 2 degrees Celsius, and the unit will start to do the heating mode, and until the water temperature is higher than 20 degrees Celsius, and it will stop to do the anti-freezing protection. And here is some stats for smart control. Some customer maybe they want to use the third party thermostat installed in the room. So if they choose the thermostat, they can use a cable connect with the electric box and then set in the controller. For example, without is the default. If you use the thermostat to control the room air, you can choose this one, or you can choose the air and hot water, and then they can use this one to control the unit's setting. And this is the remote temperature sensor for the room. For example, the customer they want to use the temperature detection point in the room. They can choose this one and put in the room around 1.5 meters at this height, and the default, the standard length of the remote air temperature sensor is 15 meters. So here is the summary of the functions, such as the comfort, energy saving, installation, and smart control. Okay, that's the third part about the product features and functions. And the next part is about summary and comparison of VERSATI 3 different types. So how to differentiate 3 types of VERSATI 3? For the regular split type, the auto units and water tank and the hydro box, they are independent for the split type. However, if we put the hydro box and auto units together, then you can get the monoblock, which means the hydro box is integrated in the auto unit. And if you put the hydro box and the water tank together, then you get the all-in-one. Here is the hydro box, here is the water tank. So actually for the monoblock and the all-in-one, the design is more compact, and more a lot of customers they want this kind of design just for the installation and the appearance. And also the inner structure difference. This is a split type. You can see the refrigerant circulation of them is in the auto unit, and the heat exchange between the refrigerant and water system is in the hydro box. And there is a 3-way valve built in. And for the expansion valve is the flat rectangular expansion tank. And for the all-in-one type, The outdoor unit is same. However, for the indoor unit, hydro box and water tank, they are together, and also a 3V valve built in. So for this unit, for this type, no need for the water connection between the hydro box and water tank. For the monoblock type, you can see the first difference is no 3V valve. Yeah, no 3V valve. You have to install by yourself. And also the expansion vessel is a cylinder. Yeah, and also the controller is external, not built in. You need a cable to connect with PCB. And here is the expansion vessel comparison. So split and all-in-one use this expansion vessel. Is 10 liter and 1 bar preset pressure. For the monoblock, for 4, 6, and 8 kilowatt units is 2 liter and 1.5 bar preset pressure. And for starts from 10 kilowatts to 16 kilowatts is 3 liter and 1.5 bar preset pressure. So actually, that's another difference between a split all-in-one and monoblock. And for the installation difference is, here is a split. So for the project, you need to do the brazing, the copper pipe connection, and the water pipe connection between the hydro box and the water tank, and hydro box to the floor heating and FCU, right? However, for the all-in-one, we also need the copper pipe installation. However, no need to connect the hydro box and water tank. And here are 3 water connection for the shower, for the water circulating out and return to the floor heating and the FCU. And for the monoblock, you can see no need to install the copper pipe because all of the refrigerant circulation is here. You just connect the water pipe to the water tank and the water pipe to the floor heating and FCU. So actually, for these 3 different types, they have their own advantage, such as split. The installation is more flexible. Yeah, you can choose different location for different parts. However, for the all-in-one, the indoor unit is more compact. Even you can install in the room, and the space occupation is smaller. However, for the monoblock, no need to connect the copper pipe, so maybe the installation is easier a little bit. Yeah. Okay, that's the installation difference for the 3 types. Next one is the VERSATI 3 working principle. So this page is the split type, outdoor unit, hydro box, and water tank. They are independent. So for example, in heating mode, compressor discharge, hot gas, and there is a sensor for discharge temperature, high pressure switch, high pressure sensor, and then the hot gas flow to the PHE, plate heat exchanger, gas in and liquid out, and flow to the equalizer. If the ambient is very low, is very cold in the winter, and then in this case, this expansion valve 2 will open to throttle and distribute some refrigerant exchanged heat with the major pipe so that some gas can flow back and inject to the compressor to cool down the discharge temperature. And for the major, refrigerant will flow to the expansion valve 1 for throttling and then flow to the outer unit for evaporation, and then flow back to the gas liquid separator, and then sucked by the compressor. And for the VERSATI 3, there are two pressure switch, no pressure switch, one for cooling and heating because of the working value. For different conditions, they are different. So we set two, no pressure switch. Okay, that's the refrigerant circulation. For the indoor unit, the cold water will flow from here, flow to the flow switch. Okay, the water pump circulates in to get the heat from the refrigerant and then flow out. If the heat pump capacity is insufficient, so it can use the optional heater to get the additional heat source. And this is a sensor, safety valve, three-way valve to control the flow direction. If the customer they want the hot water for shower, then this part will open to supply the hot water to the tank and then circulate. If the customer they want the heating, cooling or flow heating, this part will open to supply the water to the FCU or the radiator, and then circulate, flow back. Okay, so that's the water system circulation. And there is other thermal, such as the gas boiler. If they want to use a backup heat source, they can connect with the water system. So this is the split type working principle. However, if we put the high outer units and the indoor units together, integrate the hydro box into outer units, then you can get the motor block. Yeah. Just no three-way valve. This one, no. Without three-way valve for motor block, also the e-heater, no. However, you can install in by yourself. Okay, so that's the motor block. If we put the indoor unit above the water tank and put them together, then you can get the all-in-one type. Yeah. So for the all-in-one type, this two water pipe is directly connected to the hydro box. So you just do the copper pipe collection and FCU flow heating connection. This part is saved, right? Is saved. So, okay, that's the difference between VERSATI 3 split type, motor block type, and all-in-one type. Yeah. Okay, that's all for the VERSATI 3 production introduction. So, gentlemen, do you have any question?
No, it's clear for me, Liu.
Wait a moment.
The presentation was very good.
Yeah. Okay, please. Hello? Any question?
No, everything is clear for me. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. How about the others? If any question we can...
It's okay.
Yeah, if any question we can discuss and communicate now. Okay, gentlemen, if no question, I think for today, for this morning, our online presentation is almost finished. Thanks for your joining, and I hope you can get some information from this presentation. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Liu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a
you
nice
very much.
Thank you, Mr. Liu. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you're welcome. Later, I will share the copy of this presentation to your sales manager. You can get copy from them.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah, very
Thank you
good.
very much.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you, Mr.
Bye.